Use code AFTV25 for 25% off your order with Faraway Pizza. Click the link below or visit faraway.co.uk now. I'm here with Frank, who joins me on the information station on the watch along. Frank, obviously I get the pleasure of watching the whole game with you. I've never seen you more furious with what you saw out there than I've seen you today. And a lot of your anger was directed towards management. Is it fair to say you're more annoyed with Arteta's role in this than the players?
I don't recognise the team that I saw today, ultimately, James. It's not the Arsenal team that I've grown to know and love over the course of the season. Mm-hmm. There was no passion, there was no aggression, there was no urgency in this team. You even go down to the little things like, the huddle during the game. I didn't see that today. I don't know if it actually happened, but I certainly didn't see it. The players geeing up the crowd, I didn't see much of that today. It's just not what we've grown to expect throughout the course of this season. I have had a lot of criticism towards Arteta recently. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to criticise him generally.
Well, you're a huge fan of Arteta.
Oh,
it's worth saying that, because some people go,
yeah.
Arteta out and all that, but you're, as in other people accuse you of being Arteta out, but you back the manager, you're just disappointed with his job recently.
Absolutely. The point that I want to make before that I say what I'm going to say is I still think manager of the season should be Mikel Arteta. Okay. However, in the last 4 or 5 games, it's the changes for me, the timing of the changes, and for me, he's not always getting the right changes. For the last 2 games, we should have seen at least 1 or 2 subs at half-time. Didn't happen. Took another 10 minutes, and by then, the game's already done. The right changes today. Holding was on the pitch way too long, and I know people are going to use him as a scapegoat. Like you said, he was performing at the best of his ability. Unfortunately, it's just not the right level of ability for Arsenal, and I think he's shown that today. I don't see much of a future for him at Arsenal, and I think it's just a case of we need to move on from players like Rob Holding. We're past the banter era by the sound of it, and Rob Holding seems to be one of the last players from that banter era that needs to get out of the club. He tries, it's just not up to Arsenal standards, so it is what it is.
But okay, so I know Rob Holding's limitations going into this game. I've spoken about it lots of times, but the one thing though is that Arteta could have done more to either play to his strengths, which is a bit more park the bus, sit back, protect. A draw wouldn't have been a bad result. See what you can do. See if you can get something on the counter-attack. See if you can suck City up the pitch. Yeah. Or you'd mix it up by going for someone else who's going to press hard up the pitch better than him. And then a third thing I want to throw into that in his defence is, because I'm not defending, I've been very critical of Rob Holding, but Partey, Zinchenko, Jesus. And I'm looking at them more than Sacco Martinelli. Sacco Martinelli weren't great. Ødegaard missing today. But those 3, I'm like, you to some degree have been there and done it. So what was that out there from those 3?
No, absolutely. I'm not just putting this solely on Rob Holding. Zinchenko and Jesus might have well chucked the blue shirt back on today. Partey was completely useless, and he has been for the past 2 games. Ødegaard, I'm extremely disappointed with Ødegaard, because this is not the first big game we've seen him just disappearing. So you look at those experienced players that should be guiding us to a victory, not performing, and it's a concerning thing, especially now that we've got Champions League. Just want to say this again. We've got Champions League football again next season. It's been a while. But we need to look towards these players to push us forward in that competition and, encourage these young players to do a lot better. And you know what? The young players have been the stars of this season. Martinelli and Saka specifically have been absolutely amazing. So questions have got to be asked. Ultimately, questions have got to be asked of the entire team. It's not good enough, and we need to see better for the remainder of the season. Yeah,
and what about that remainder of the season? We need to see better, but there's Chelsea. Now, Chelsea are now on a 5-match losing streak. I jokingly tweeted a couple of weeks ago that Frank Lampard's going to go 1 win, 0 draws and 13 defeats in his Chelsea tenure, and that 1 win will obviously be at the Emirates. But I mean, look, for whatever we say about them, they have quality players on a football pitch. They might be coached horrifically, they might not all know each other, they might be a mess behind the scenes. But Arsenal need to step up to that, and then they've got to go to Newcastle. Oh, what a game that's going to be in terms of the pressure, in terms of how difficult it's going to be to get anything from there. And then you're talking Brighton at home. There's still a lot that this Arsenal team need to face, even if the title race is over to many people.
No, absolutely. And I want to obviously talk about that title race. It doesn't. I've been confident all season, and it doesn't look likely anymore. However, this Arsenal team has earned the right to my respect. It's not over. It's not over, and for me, until it's mathematically over. There's still a chance. Man City is still in all the competitions. They've got an FA Cup final to think about. They've got a 2-legged affair against Real Madrid to worry about. There is potential for them to slip up in the Premier League, and that's where it's crucial that we snap and just jump on that, because we're now in a situation where we've got to win 5 out of 5 to even keep the chance alive. So for me, just try and go as full strength as possible where we can. I think the only difference in this situation is I maybe rest a few players for the Chelsea game but only in preparation for the Newcastle game. I don't think we should rotate the full 11, but I would like to see Saka now get a rest, because I think he's going to be more effective in the game against Newcastle than he is in the game against Chelsea. So I think there needs to be some rotation.
Big risk, but here we're saying. Frank, big thanks for joining me, man. Appreciate it.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.